Okay, so I want to try something new today. I'm going to try and do like a tarot reading, but with Super Nintendo games. And this reading is going to be for the week of the 8th to the 14th of October. Yes. So, I have this list of all Super Nintendo games. I don't know if it's complete, but it does include 781 games because I've checked. So I'm going to choose 8 random numbers from that. So, first one is 443, 279, 374, 239, 180, 451, 43, and 28. Okay, so you can check for yourselves, but those numbers corresponded in this order to the Incredible Hulk, Stanley Cup, Sterling Sharp End to End, Math Blaster, Inspector Gadget, The Ninja Warrior, Battletoads and Double Dragon, and Axley or Axelay. So, I have made a little sort of spread of these 8 games. And the first thing that jumps out at me very clearly is the presence of green characters. We have the Incredible Hulk, this like Math Blaster alien guy, and Battletoads. So, and let's not forget, this is not very visible, but he's wearing a green. You can see it easily in Sterling Sharp. Right, he's wearing a like green clothes. It's clear here as well. So, yes, it's a stretch in that he's not like literally a green creature, but it might highlight this theme of the Green Man, right? Which could point to something to do with spontaneity and nature, the heart in opposition to the mind, maybe. The heart, right? The Hulk is the classic story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in a sense, in that it's, or like Jim Carrey's The Mask, right? Where one person who is usually not violent and doesn't show their emotions in this extreme way, suddenly all of their emotions, all of their heart comes out, and it gets expressed by the color green. So that's sort of the first thing that comes to mind, but there is another possible color theme here, in that this is Battletoads and Double Dragon. It's a collaboration, right? I'm afraid the quality is not great in these, but it's a collaboration between the green Battletoad and this red, not only sort of red-haired, but dressed in red human. So Double Dragon gets expressed as the dragon, the Toad gets expressed as the toad, whatever that might mean. One might be above, one might be below, and so on, right? But they are collaborating. It seems as if maybe, I don't really know much about these games, but it maybe they would have been enemies in another situation or something. That's the vibe I get, at least, is that this is an exceptional collaboration. It wouldn't have happened. The ultimate team in the ultimate game, right? So it's red and green are collaborating. Now, here, let's look at the other red characters. Well, here as well, red is a part of the team. The others seem to be blue and black or blue and silver or something. 3 of them. And here, Inspector Gadget as well is helped by, you know, someone dressed in red, basically. So she's part of the team. She might be a woman too, I can't tell, but she or he is part of the team as well. This, of course, offers a contradictory image, in that there is a hostility or a violence to this fiery red. But again, it kind of goes with the feeling I get from this, that this is not your usual collaboration. I get the feeling that the red and the green would have usually been opposed, and that now they are starting to come together for a mutual cause, so that the red is not like a natural friend, or maybe is a natural friend but hasn't been for a long time with the green. There is a great power, great energy. So yeah, let's think about that. Here as well, we get a rivalry between a red player and a player dressed in like black and white, similar kind of colors to those Inspector Gadget wears. So I do have a very basic knowledge of what Inspector Gadget was about, and I seem to remember it being mainly that he gets all the credit, right, for his endeavors, when actually it's I can't remember who she is in relation to him. I don't think she's a daughter. She must be like a niece or something. I can't remember. But she's the one, she's like the brains behind the operation, right? And the dog. So it's a collaboration that is slightly lopsided or unbalanced, right? And in that sense, it is also a rivalry. There is a certain rivalry between the red and the white, but they are this clash between them is maybe in the process of being healed, in the process of coming together. So here again, like, I don't know, I get the feeling that the green man of nature is running towards a goal, right? He's holding the ball and he's running towards like the end. There is a climax or a goal that is being sought. Right? So they haven't come together for nothing. It is with a specific goal in mind. There seems to be a lot of enemies surrounding them, and like a kind of apocalyptic vibe. There's a big full moon here and lightning. So it's as if the situation has forced them to come together. They usually wouldn't have wanted to, but they have to now. There is a clear direction that they're running towards. Here, for instance, this direction seems to have something to do with trash. There's this dead fish here, trash, and this three-eyed yellow monster has grabbed hold of a little like blue lava creature. So yeah, here, for instance, we're coming from a pyramid kind of structure. There is a sort of pyramidal, volcanic kind of structure that to me is resonant of like mandala, or kind of the pyramids and volcanoes to me tend to imply things that are coming down from the earth and are rising. It's an arrow that's pointing up, right? Like the palm trees, it's blooming, like energy going up towards the crown chakra, and it's as if they are erupting through the volcano. And of course, Inspector Gadget, in a sense, is a depiction of the crown chakra opening, right? His whole, he is haloed. The volcano excuse me, erupts and halos. But the red is still undercredited, maybe. The red is still undercredited. Now I get a feeling here that let's try another approach. Maybe the red and the green are more similar than it may seem. That's why they're together. Red, fire, usually associates to the heart, and the green man also associates to the heart in a way, or it could do, right? Here the red character is dressed in cloth. There's a sort of how would I say that? There's like a uncoveredness to this character. But here, these two characters are very covered by shells, by almost robotic, technological armor to protect themselves, as is Inspector Gadget. He is essentially a robot, in a sense, right? As are these two. There is a theme of like helmets being worn, protective gear. And could it be that this theme of helmets has something to do with the ego, right? The protective shell of the ego, of the mind, of the intellect. What is the crown chakra, in a sense, is also highlighting the head, reason. But underneath the head, in the lower parts of the body, that is to say, where the lava is generated under the earth, is the red lava, the red heart, which is unacknowledged by the ego, but is bubbling up towards it. You could say that the ego wants to take credit for, as in the case of Inspector Gadget, the ego wants to take credit for its own ideas, but actually its ideas are coming from youth, from the past, or from the underworld. And this is, it's not that they are now entering into collaboration, but that they have always been in collaboration. It's just that only now is this collaboration beginning to be acknowledged. Before, she was completely hidden underground. Now there is a slight acknowledgement of it, but of course there is also, with that acknowledgement, a slight anger, a slight irritation, right? A slight hostility at being locked under for so long. So it's like, yes, in order to make peace, in order to reach a union, the heart needed to come out of the surface. But by coming out of the surface, it creates conflict because it wants to express its anger, like the Hulk, right? It's like the act of the heart coming out into the surface is an act of violence, in the sense that it's an act of allowing its emotions of anger to come out. But ironically, it is precisely through showing those hidden emotions that peace between the heart and the mind is achieved. So the process of achieving peace is a process not of repressing conflict, but of allowing conflict within yourself. I mean, right? Within the heart and the mind. Well, yeah, that should be enough for for my first attempt at a weekly reading. So let's kind of summarize what that, what does that wake up in me in relation to the week. Well, yeah, it seems that in some way the we may be becoming more aware of the fact that the archetypal feminine, so to speak, has been hidden in the underworld. So it may be a week of realizing that within us. And maybe an advice, like the only advice that I seem to be able to read from this is precisely that when it seems that there is conflicting opinions, conflicting emotions, perhaps that conflict isn't the cause of your problems, but the act of them healing. So, yeah, sort of see how emotion bubbles up and in what way it is conflicting with your mind, right? Your mind may be saying and thinking different things, and your heart is suggesting something very different. And it may seem that in a conflict like that, only one side can win. Either the heart wins or the mind wins. But maybe that is precisely a very mind-oriented way of thinking. We are very used to using our minds, I think, and our minds are very binary. So when confronted with this union, we think, well, something is bubbling up from the unconscious, some kind of emotion, some kind of anger, but it conflicts, it's in great conflict with what I usually think. Math blaster, right? You're blasting the mind, the math, the logic, rational side. And there is a conflict because the emotion comes up, but it says, I'm usually not this kind of a person, but now I'm feeling this kind of way. Or I don't usually think these things, but now I'm feeling them. And the mind wants to find a binary solution. It wants to say, well, which one is the correct one? Is my great Hulk-like anger the correct answer? Or is it my timid kind of repression of the anger the answer? And maybe like a suggestion that I would make based on this is that there is a mind way of dealing with this duality, but there is also a heart way of dealing with it, which can be balanced with the mind way of dealing with things. And that is to say that maybe when these two conflicting realities emerge, like the angry Hulk and the calm, sort of timid Hulk, that it is the conflict is arising from the fact that these two things haven't been together usually. Usually, one of the sides is fighting against the other. So maybe we need to bear the conflict a little bit. We need to sit tight and hold that conflict within us until we are slightly more accustomed to it. You know, maybe there is an issue of simply of accustoming, like in the same way that if you've been in total darkness for a long time and you open the light, it hurts. Your eyes can't take it. That doesn't mean that light is bad for the eyes. It doesn't mean that light hurts the eyes. It simply means that the eyes need to get used to the light until they can see well. it's not a question of deciding, that this state is bad and this state is good, but maybe that there is a confusion that needs to be sat with. Maybe we need to sit with that confusion, sit in a peaceful way, to be peaceful with conflict, within conflict, and to allow conflict to arise within peace. Something like that. Within us. Yeah. Well, yes, I won't ramble on anymore. Thanks for watching. Who knows if I will do any more of these, but it was interesting. Yes, goodbye.